that's why he was in the position that he was in. I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to focus there. Because the reality is, regardless of what our ills, regardless of what our ailments are, regardless of what our differences are, the reality is that we all live and we exist as one. And because we do, we must see each other as worthy.
Yes, yes.
I don't care what bad mistakes you've made. I don't care what wrong turns you made. I don't care what makes you different from me. We may talk different, look different, think different. But the reality is, honey, we all are worthy.
Yes, yes.
And because we are worthy, like those men understood, understand the text doesn't specify that these 4 men were that man's friends. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say they were friends and buddies and family members and therefore already had a relational responsibility to help them. And just as that is not specified, neither should we ever expect that. We should never base our urgency, we should never base our commitment to helping others based off of if we know them.
Yes, yes, yes.
Based on if we're from the same place, based on if we've gone through the same things. Because you exist, I care about you.
Yes.
Because you live, you matter to me. Yes. Because you breathe, you are also my responsibility. These 4 men took on what I call a collective responsibility, a political spirituality, a mandate for justice and peace that was active, that despite how big the crowd seemed, they were willing to fight through the crowd to get the man to Jesus because the man had a problem that they felt responsible to solve. They felt he was worthy. The inherent worth and dignity of all living things in creation. The second thing that they had to believe was that they were capable. They were capable. Because if you're going to change the world, if you're going to be an agent for transformation, you have to believe in your own capacity to make change. You got to believe in you. You got to believe that you got the juice. You got to believe that you have what it takes. That it's already in you what you need to change the world. You got to believe it. If you don't believe it, you won't do it. If you don't believe that when you were created that somebody thought about you, somebody cared about you, somebody put inside of you every detail that you need. Even when you doubt yourself, even when you think to yourself, how can I do this? This is too big. I don't know how to do that. Those are tricks of the enemy to deceive us into lowering our own worth and value. I tell people all the time, you can't be the best you for nobody else until you're the best you for you. Until we put ourselves in a position in which we realize that we have to do inner deep dive searching about who we are and what our purpose is. Until we do that, until we learn to love ourselves, is it really easy to love others? The third thing that those 4 men had to believe is that Jesus could heal them. They had to believe that the healing was possible. People say this all the time. I had a friend tell me that he was a pastor in Dallas actually, who said he doesn't know how to preach to his white congregation about race. Because he doesn't even believe that the people would change. And so I told him, I said, well, that's problem number 1. You gotta believe that it's possible. Otherwise, we will continue to see our society go in the trends that it's already been going. We have to believe that the transformation is possible. Without hope, without that level of faith, it is impossible to see the manifestation of change. We have to believe that it is possible. So when those 4 men got that man and put him on what I would believe maybe was something like a stretcher, they were bringing him through. He's paralyzed. So I hope that they made something to carry man, but that's neither here nor there. That's in the past. And so that's in the past, but it matters, right? And so here we They're carrying this man. They realize that the crowd is too thick. And what they decide to do is they decide to take him up on the roof. And they tear the roof off and lower him down in it. The extent that they went to ensure that this man got help showed their level of commitment. Their faith had transformed from mere action to commitment. So they had to believe that the man could be healed. They had to believe that it was possible. If you don't believe that it's possible, if you don't believe that transforming our society is possible, if you don't believe that transforming the hearts and minds of ourselves and others is possible, then we'll never get anywhere. So if you leave this place with anything in your spirit, it must be that this is possible. Change is possible. Hope is possible. Peace is possible. It is possible. Goodness is possible. Joy is possible. Unity is possible. Community is possible. Think about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
All right, all right.
They said you could throw them in the furnace, and listen, even if God don't step in, it's not because God can't. God is able, and so if he don't step in, it has to have been for some particular reason why. And remember David going into the lion's den in the same situation in which it seemed impossible. But the kind of faith that David had said, regardless of what the circumstances look like, I know what's possible.
Yes.
You got to know what's possible. No matter how hard it is, you got to know what's possible. No matter how thick the crowd is, you got to know what's possible. No matter if it doesn't seem like there's a way, because there is a way, even if by way of the roof. If you have to tear the roof off to cause change, you got to have that level of commitment. You have to change and transform your faith and realize that you can, on behalf of somebody else, produce liberation. You got to believe that even when somebody else can't do it for themselves, that you have the capacity to step in and be the change agent on their behalf. You got to believe that you have everything wrapped up on the inside of you to make this world a better place. Let's transform our faith into action. Let's transform our faith into commitment. Let's ask ourselves, who am I?
Yes.
Who am I really? What's my purpose? When you ask yourself that question, you cannot ask yourself that question without thinking about community. Because if God is the creator and we are God's creation, the best way we get to know more about God is by getting to know more of God's creation.
Yes, yes.
I'll say it one more time. If God is the creator and we and all living things are God's creation, if you want to get to know more about God, then you got to spend more time with the things that God has made. When you spend more time with what God has made, you'll get to know a little bit about yourself as well as a whole lot more about God. So touch your neighbor and say, let's get to know each other a little bit more. Let's hang out a little bit more. Let's talk a little bit more. Let's learn more about one another. And when we do that, we can transform the world. God bless you.